Navid, welcome to the show. So, welcome to Radio Tiefsinn, it's called. It's German, so it means the radio of deeper sense, maybe you can translate it like that into English. And we just say we do not really have a script for this. You have never done a podcast. I've experienced your sessions with you. I think we've done 4 sessions in total together. And on my way here, I was actually thinking, how can we transfer what we've done in the sessions for people who do not experience you in person, who can only basically have your voice as a guidance. So I think we can just do it pretty spontaneously, but maybe let's just start with you as a person, as Navid. Where are you from? What is it that you do? And just give like a small little introduction of yourself.
Thank you very much for having me. It's the first time I'm doing this, so you might have to guide me a bit.
We guide each other.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Navid. I am born in Iran, but raised in Sweden. And the thing I do, the thing that you have been attending, is a way of exploration. It is, I usually call it is a set of exercises that brings about clarity. The goal of what we do is clarity, to become clear about what reality is and who we are, who are experiencing reality. But it is called Simran meditation, so it's connected to meditation. Because what I have found out is that meditation is our natural state of being. And the only reason we are not in meditation is that we are not in clarity, is because we entertain false beliefs about what we are and where we are. So what I have developed, and actually it's very inspired by all Indian teachings and some other gurus. So what I have developed is a very simple set of exercises to bring about clarity, I would say. In short, that would be my description of what I do and what you have been attending.
And I remember you saying in the sessions that I remember you said why you went on this journey. So why you went on this journey to basically become someone who travels around the world, doing sessions with people, guiding them towards meditation, for them to gain clarity, insight, and peace. You mentioned it was because you were trying to prove to other people first that God does not exist. Can you maybe tell that story? I think it's a quite interesting one.
Yeah. Let's say the background of this whole thing is that I was grown up in a Muslim country during war. And my main family, my mother's side, which I was brought up with, was not Muslim. And even the opposite of it, they were fighting the Muslims, let's say, fighting the Muslim regime. So we had to escape that country. My mom was hunted, let's say, and we ended up escaping, being like smuggled out of the country, like refugees, kind of escaping in many different ways throughout all of Europe, even back then, East Germany, West Germany, Romania, Cyprus, all kinds of places, ending up in Sweden in some refugee camp. But what I brought with me was emotional hate for the religion. I was 5. I had no idea what it was. I only know this is bad people. Even myself, when I went to kindergarten, they made everyone pray, and sometimes I didn't want to pray. I didn't know what we were praying to. So every time I skipped, they kind of tortured me. They put me into a closet, and I was only allowed to look at all the other children play. Anyhow, this whole thing brought up a very deep emotional resistance towards religion. And when I came to Sweden, I heard about Christianity, and it resembled Islam in many ways. And I started hating that. And then I started hating other religions as well. Everything that reminded me of this thing. So somehow, this whole emotional trauma brought about let's say it's fired up my intellect to kind of really try to disprove religions, disprove everything that had anything to do with religions, let's say. So I went totally into science, everything atheists people were recommending, and on my free time I studied some quantum physics, but only in the philosophical sense. I was interested in how this could help me disprove the concept of God by really going deep into matter and materialism. But the funny thing is that if you really go deep into materialism, you find out that there is no matter. This was like the dead end. It was like, oh, fuck, if I may say so.
Yeah, of course.
It was like, oh, it's all vibrations of some mystical energy. They talk about this energy, like potentiality, like everything that we experience as matter is, if you look really close, if you zoom in, there is nothing there. Or there is like potential energy vibrating as quarks that are then vibrating as atoms, that are vibrating as molecules, that are vibrating as, or in some ways becomes our sense perceptions. I won't go too deep into that, but kind of this whole really trying to disprove all the immaterial stuff kind of actually did the opposite, and it was very confusing for me back then because I wanted to use all these arguments against anything spiritual. So I had to give up at some point. So there was the fuel, let's say, of my explorations, which funny enough brought me into a place where now I can bring about an experience of spirit for anyone, no matter what background or mindset.
What was the, if there was a turning point for you where it became very clear that you will be teaching this? When did you transition from someone who realized, oh, okay, maybe matter is not all there is in the world, and I've kind of came to a dead end of my, let's say, atheist worldview, to then become a teacher to teach meditation techniques? Is there a certain point in your life where that happened?
Yeah, kind of. As I mentioned to you earlier, I had some health issues. So by traveling to Asia and meeting a lot of different kind of approaches to health, in my case, it was a lot of stomach issues, like IBS it's called today, but a lot of stress and stomach stuff, but also followed by some kind of sense of depression, I guess. Not heavy one, but like this background anxiety. And all of this was heavily affecting my health with a lot of allergies and stuff. When I started to travel to Asia, one of the things that got my interest was the shamanic practices. I stumbled upon a lot of shamans going to Nepal and even Thailand, and realizing that they had really weird approaches to health compared to what I was used to, like compared to Western medicine. But they worked somehow. Like I could not explain to myself how they worked, but somehow they worked.
Can you give an example?
Let's say I went to a very regular, it seemed, Thai massage teacher in northern Thailand. And he just, like with the first touch of my body, he found the spot where I had most of my issues in my belly area.
Without him knowing that.
Exactly. I told him nothing. Like I was even ashamed of this problem, so I even tried to hide it. But he was exactly pinpointing. This is, in this point, there is blocked energy, there is fire, there is anger towards your family. There is like so many stuff that he found in this spot. And he was massaging it, and I was crying, and all kind of weird reactions came. And eventually, when he was done, I didn't experience my allergies for 2 weeks. Like none of them. Really strange. And I'm not recommending people who are allergic to anything to go to a Thai massage. But in my case, yeah, that helped for 2 weeks until I got the tension back in that part of my stomach, which I think from his point of view, until I got my emotional blockage back. And then the allergies came back. So that was, let's say, my first concrete experience of my health issues being helped by something that was outside of my belief system. And I started practicing Thai massage and learning about Taoistic belly massage, all these things that could help releasing emotional stuff. What happened then, to answer your question about teaching, is that when I was massaging people, when I started to practice this in Sweden, and when I was massaging people, I realized that just like me, after a while, they brought their tensions and their emotional blockages back. They did it, like I could massage it away and it was good for a couple of weeks, or for some people only a couple of days. But then the way their belief system, their thoughts, their worldview brought about these tensions again and the blockages. So I started meditating them, let's say, guiding them in meditation while massaging them. And somehow I guess I was better in the guidance of meditation. So some of my students only came back for the meditations. They brought a couple of friends.
They no, thank you. You don't need to massage us, actually.
Yeah, they said the meditation had a bigger impact on them. And when they wanted to bring friends, I could not massage 3 people at one time. So eventually they only came for the meditation techniques that I was developing by myself. While in my own journey, let's say, in my own process, I was still learning a lot of practices. I was not so clear about what I was teaching you now. That was not so clear to me at that point. The very simple and direct path into the deeper realms was not so clear for me. But I was in the process of figuring that out while I started teaching some very basic techniques. So that's kind of how I started teaching.
In this podcast, I've noticed a pattern not only within myself, also within other people, that the turning point of someone's life towards, let's say, growth, inspiration, a new path, a new desire to help people usually comes from a point of crisis. So for you, was your stomach that kind of like led you through weird ways teaching meditation, which is very interesting. I think is the same for many people, and I always try to emphasize that on my podcast, that when people are going through a hard time, and I think we've kind of had that talk as well during the meditation with some, I forgot her name, who asked this question, but that is very, very essential that you need. Sometimes I feel like you need to go through that crisis. You find out what needs to be resolved, and while resolving it, it leads you further, more in your direction where you need to be in your life, and it can be used really as like a catalyst and growth point. But actually, I think we can jump. You teach very straightforward, so I think we can also jump pretty straightforward into the technique and see how we can maybe translate what you've been teaching in a way that is as understandable for people who just have their headphones plugged in. Let's try it? Okay.
Yeah, it is actually not that difficult. It is, in a sense, easier than our regular state of mind. We think that, to follow some kind of meditation, I should sit and focus and make an effort. It is actually more of stopping a lot of processes. Sometimes, depending on what kind of audience I teach to, I talk in their language. With people who work with computers, I can sometimes say, we're going to just close down a lot of apps running in your head, let's say. So depending on the crowd, I can kind of aim for the most basic guidance, let's say. And it is about realizing, let's say, 2 dimensions of this present moment. So one of the dimensions is called experiences. This is everything that we experience. So the basic of this meditation or exploration is to just notice that there is a dimension of experience right now, a dimension of this present moment that contains all the experiences we are having. So first of all, really become aware that you are experiencing sounds, you're experiencing taste, smell, touch, body sensations, let's say, and you're experiencing sight. So that would be the 5 senses. So the first thing is to becoming aware of that. then there is more to our experience. That would be all the body experiences, let's say. Then we have more of mind or inner experiences going on at the same time. Like our mind is right now maybe commenting everything that we experience. That is taste, that feels good, that feels bad, I have tension. So the mind or the stream of thoughts is also an experience. And then we have our emotional state. We are also experiencing a certain background, let's say, emotional state. That is kind of coloring also. If we are in a happy emotional state, the sounds of the bird sounds happy to us, or the feeling of the wind is nice. But if our background emotional state is one of depression or sadness, the birds can even annoy you. So the first thing is to notice all of this, that there is this whole realm where you are experiencing a world, a mind, and a body. And this is something you have to confirm by yourself. It's not something I show you. I hope that it becomes clear for everyone who's noticing their experience. You're experiencing a world, a mind, and a body. Then we take the big step to say and question for ourselves, what is experiencing all of this? What is experiencing the present moment? And then we become aware that I am experiencing body, mind, and world. But what is this I? So the rest of the meditation is to take attention away. During this exploration, we take attention away from the body, from the world, and from our mind even, from our thoughts. We take attention away from them and we start to explore, who am I? What is this I that has a body, has a mind, and also are experiencing this world? And there is that center, that I, is something we have to explore with our experience. Our mind cannot follow us there. Our mind cannot name it, cannot define it. So we have to go there with our direct experience. And the rest of the meditation technique is to really explore this honestly for yourself. Can you really define this I? Does it have a specific size? Does it have a specific direction? Is it locked in one body part? Is it only there when your mind notices it? Is it there in your dreams? Is it there in your fantasies? The more you explore it, the more you realize that what you call I is not definable. It is here. It is experiencing this present moment. It is you. But your mind cannot define it. And this is the direction of this meditation. You stay there and you go deeper and deeper into experiencing your most lasting sense of self, your most unchanging sense of self. And everything will become clear in there. Many people, when I ask them this question, there is a smile coming up, just like in you now, Benji. Yeah. This smile is a smile of recognition. Many people know that we are this I, this undefined I, and that it is beyond our mind to define it. In a way, for some this might come as a surprise, but your mind is too small to know you. Your mind can only know objects, but you as the real subject is unknown by your mind. So in a sense, you're free of all the definitions your mind have about you. Your mind might be able to define your body sometimes, to have some opinions about it, to judge the world. But you, as that which is experiencing the mind, is far beyond the mind. You can only explore yourself with your direct experience. So this is a taste. of where these meditations are bringing our attention and what it is clearing. It is giving us clarity about the true I, which at the same time gives clarity about everyone else.
When in the end of the meditation in the sessions, I mean, people are already quite emotional before that. Most of the sessions we had tears and shivers, goosebumps, and then in the end of the session, you sometimes lead people to eye gaze. That means, for people that do not know what that is, you basically sit in front of each other, very close, and you look into each other's eye for an extended amount of time. And it sounds very like hippy-dippy exercise to do, but it's actually a very profound experience if you do it after this meditation. Could you maybe explain in a way why it is so powerful?
Yeah, it really follows it follows exactly what I was just explaining. What you will find out through these meditations, one of the parts is that you are a mystery for your mind. Your mind don't really know you. So let's say there is 2 dimensions of you. There is the body mind that is interacting constantly with the world. And then there is you, the mystery presence that is aware of all of these things, that is aware of the body, world, and mind. Then, when we sit in front of each other, just like you say, when you are aware of your own soul, your own essence, or your own consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the mystery part, then suddenly you're available to see the same dimension in the other. So when we eye gaze like this, it is not only 2 humans sitting in front of each other, but there is 2 mysteries. But the beautiful part is that these mysteries, these whatever they are, they know each other. Even if you sit in front of someone you have never seen before, and your mind knows nothing about them, their life, their story, their identity, nothing. You know nothing about them. But in the center of their eyes, the mystery of you recognizes the mystery of them. Or let's say the life in you, the consciousness in you, recognizes that part in them. So everyone gets to experience, not only theoretically understand, but get to experience this dimension that we share. And it's the most intimate experience, I would say.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Why do you think we live in a society basically where it's awkward to make eye contact, which is longer than... Like, if you make eye contact longer than 2 seconds, you're pretty much already a freak, in a way. Why do you think that is?
Well, this eye contact thing that you mentioned, the intimacy of that, I would say that actually children don't feel as much problem with eye contact with if someone they meet is already in a good state, if they're not angry or holding back so much. Children have an easy way of making eye contact. It is almost... This is my own experience, so I'm not saying this as some scientific truth. But we all hold a lot of secrets and emotions and thoughts inside of us. And just as the old saying, can you look in my eyes and tell me if it's true? Just like that, if we look at each other's eyes, if we connect from essence to essence, then we reveal so much about ourselves. The one that is looking at us will see if we are sad, if we feel lonely, if we feel happy, if whatever we are. All of these things that we normally hide will be shown. Because when we connect from essence to essence, we feel each other's emotions. We know that intuitively. That's why we don't show ourselves to some people. We feel vulnerable. We feel we want to hide these parts. Maybe we are ashamed of our sadness, of our loneliness, of some of these things. So it's actually very counterproductive, let's say, It's not helping us, because a lot of our sadness is because of our lack of connection. And because of this sadness, we also connect less. So some of the exercises that we have been doing and you have been participating in is really meant to open this door. That you realize when you actually reveal yourself like that, when somebody gets to see all of you, all the dimensions, from the mystery to the most superficial part of you, then you actually feel happier and more open to connect again. It was not as dangerous as your mind was thinking.
Another road that I maybe wanted to go down to was you were saying, you were talking about this disconnection that we feel in the way that we live. Is basically we are all seeking in some form or another, whether it is through yoga, meditation, or you can even say somebody playing video games or using Tinder. Is basically it's the same desire, is to break free of this character that you are playing in the current world, right? So me, Benjamin, as this fun little avatar that's walking around the world, if I'm not satisfied with this character, that means if I have a different idea what this character should be than to what it is, then I will try to find ways to escape this character. And like I said, it can be, you mentioned video games, can be looking for dating on Tinder, can be through meditation or yoga, whatever. It's the same, it's basically the same way. And you said in your meditation, or in this general, I mean, it's not yours, it's you are just you using the same pointing finger towards the same destination that maybe a lot of teachers have been pointing towards. You find this connection. So what do you suggest people maybe who feel disconnected in a way, what do you suggest them to do? What are the resources, the techniques, the self-inquiry that you would point them towards?
Yeah, very good question. I think it's the main question in humanity, pretty much. So I usually like to explain this from the other side around. That let's say if what I am pointing to is true, that there is a dimension of you that is unseen in this physical dimension. There is, let's say, an essence or consciousness or soul, something that is deeper you than your mind, your personality, and your body. So if that's the case, and you have been neglecting this thing your whole life, your whole adult life at least, you've been pretending that this is not an important part of you. And also everyone you know have been only seeing you for your body and your mind, personality. Except some few very close ones or lovers or something. Most people only see your life story, your body, your mind, and these superficial parts of you, and never really see that mystery that is looking through your eyes. So, if that's the case, and we have been neglecting our most lasting and essential part, this feeling of anxiousness, this feeling of something is missing, something is wrong, I don't feel connected, all of these things is a very natural expression of that. So, in the same way that we have been neglecting this part of ourselves, by giving attention again, by finding it, by nurturing it, by exploring it, and by realizing that we are essentially it. We are that mystery that we have been neglecting. By seeing that, it can start to, let's say, awaken. This part of us comes to the forefront of our experience.
So we just had a little power cut from our recording due to high quality Indian batteries. So we just went to the shop and got new batteries that also look around the same quality. And I also don't know when the recording got cut. So I will just maybe get back to the question that I asked you earlier, which was, so if this is the connection that we all yearn, how do we find it? What are the techniques that we can learn to find this connection, the tools, the resources, whatever you can share on helping people to find that connection that they long for so much.
Yeah, and the way I look at it is that this kind of constant searching or constant sense of lack or needing to improve, big part of it, not all of it, by the way, some part of it feels natural. The let's say the yearn to grow, to expand, to change, it's natural in some ways. But a big part of it, in the way I see, comes as a symptom of not being connected, or let's say not being aware of all of ourselves. As I said, most people are identified with only the mind, personality, and the body, let's say. A self-image. And that doesn't contain our most essential part. The part of us that is a mystery for our mind, our consciousness, let's say, or soul, as some people call it, is usually not seen, and we don't even recognize it ourselves. We never really think about it, we never give it attention. We only look at a fragment of ourselves. And that kind of living creates a sense that there is something missing. Since there is a part of us missing, our attention never goes to our essence. So we sense constantly there is something missing. I feel disconnected. I need confirmation and love from outside. I need to find peace somewhere in the world. I need to find safety. And the funny thing is that all of these things that most people are searching for are, let's say, aspects of our own essence. If you really research, if you go in and explore your own essence, you realize that it is very stable, safe, and always there. So it feels like home. It is always connected. Whatever person you meet, on the level of your soul, you can connect. They know each other, let's say. It feels complete, so it doesn't constantly look for other people's confirmation or getting love from others. It doesn't try to manipulate others to make ourselves feel loved. And it is, as I said, peaceful. It is unchanging. It is calm, expansive. So all of these aspects of our own soul, let's say, is very easy to see that there is those things we are searching for, but we are not searching for them in ourselves. We are searching for it in the world, or in some other person, or in something, or in a career, or in a certain self-image. We want to find completeness in something transient, in an object in the world. And this is the state of most beings right now, because this is also what we're being taught. This is our culture. So, the obvious answer to this, from my point, is that when you see, or if this is the way you recognize what's going on, the way I explained it, it's obvious that, then by bringing attention back to our own source, to our own peace, to our own connection, to our own safe home within our hearts, let's say, within our soul, then suddenly you find that as this essence, you're not in search. You're completely fine with this moment as it is. You're not complaining about the world, you're not complaining about your body or your situation. You just are experiencing it. That's the true state of the real you. You're just experiencing this moment. And thankfully so. Your soul is not complaining about this moment. So by finding that and realizing your true position, many of these, let's say, destructive or obsessive searching behaviors kind of come to an end without you trying to fix them. It's just because you go to your true position, and the symptom that the false position brought, the symptom disappear by themselves.
How does one go there? If I mean, I've done your sessions with you. Also, I'm learning it every day, I would say. But someone who's only listening to this, has only hear your short introduction. I know it's not easy to answer this, but what would be a nice route for them to take to find this place? Because I know that people are going to think, oh yeah, this sounds amazing. This sounds like exactly what I want to do. And if there's no answer, then you can also say what research they could get into.
Yeah, sure. Because in a sense, what I'm pointing to is very easy. But because of the habit we have, our mental habit of constantly searching for either a state of mind or searching for some emotion or finding completion in an object or some other person, because of that habit, it is very difficult to notice this dimension in ourselves. So if I would guide someone very easily, I would say, be curious to explore your inner dimensions. Let's say the parts of you that your mind cannot analyze or no one else can really see or comment on, like your inner dimensions. Explore them. Explore what is it that is both aware of this present moment, who is aware of you sitting listening to this podcast, but which is also aware of your dreams at night. Because it's the same I, it's the same awareness that is aware of this moment and the body you have now, but in your dreams you might have another body. But you still say, I was experiencing that. Then during daytime you have a fantasy. Some friend is talking to you and you say, oh, I was in my fantasy about this amazing Italian restaurant. So I was experiencing, I went into a fantasy. Then next evening you're watching something on Netflix and you say, I was totally in the movie. You don't mean that your body was in the movie. You don't mean that your personality was in the movie. I. What is that I? Explore this and hang out in it. Mm-hmm. Spend time in this. It is the most valuable thing to discover. And honestly, be honest with yourself. Isn't this I the only thing that has been with you your whole life? Your haircut have changed, your clothing style have changed, your taste in music have changed, your relationships, your body, everything has changed. But the observer of your life, the part of you that has been watching, explore that. Get to know it. Not with your mind, but with your experience. Feel it. And you will feel that you're stumbling upon something really interesting there. So let's say that you become interested in exploring this further, or even some of you feel you need some help in this exploration. Then there is a lot of guidance to get. There is everything from books, you can find books, and this subject is called self-inquiry, and it's a part of ancient teachings of India called Advaita Vedanta. More recent teachers call it non-duality. It means the part of life that is one, that is not two. So non-duality. It is also connected to a lot of other teachings that exist, but those would be the main thing that is more directly connected to what I'm talking about. Then some people take this kind of, let's say, exploration or these techniques and connect it to healing traumas. How can I, with the help of my soul or essence, go towards healing my traumas? Or how can I feel more lonely? How can I become more social? How can I heal my health? So there is a lot of second layer stuff that people help out with in exploring these dimensions. But if you're interested in the essence of it, which I'm also pointing towards, then I would say Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, or it's also called the direct path, I would say. And you can search for all of these things both on either Amazon, or if you have Kindle, you can find also audiobooks, and on YouTube. There are resources for this everywhere. I won't mention any specific teachers now because I feel every individual will find their own favorite one.
Okay, I was gonna ask you what your 3 biggest teachers are, but maybe we're gonna skip that one. That makes sense.
I could mention for you.
If you want. But I think it makes sense what you said, that everyone is choosing their own path in a way that makes perfect sense. What would be your, in spreading this knowledge or re-spreading it? It has existed, like you've mentioned, existed since long times, and it's just been retranslated in a way for modern times recently. What would your personal dream as Navid be in spreading this kind of knowledge about non-duality, self-inquiry?
Wow, I actually never got this question before. It's interesting for myself to find out now. I guess I have a very double relationship to this. In some ways, like when I look from my essence, when I'm actually really true, then I don't have a specific longing for where this should go. In some sense, I'm just being here with you now, exploring this. It feels perfectly fine, so I haven't even started imagining where this could go. But then I have the other part, my regular mind, let's say, that have these ideas and intentions and stuff that it search for. And it's a lot of up and down there. But I would say that it might sound weird, but some part of this is my longing for us to connect back to nature, to realize that what is looking through our eyes, what is the life in us, is the same life as everything living. Even if an alien would come to Earth, in a sense, what I'm pointing to, the mystery consciousness that is in all eyes, all animals, is also would be looking through that alien. So it is something universal. It is that thing which connects everything to each other. So my first intention with starting spreading this, one of the visions I had was to stop disconnecting ourselves from nature. All this garbage, all this destroying of forest, all this extinct animals. That was my first thing I saw. Like, if we see ourselves in them, we might stop. And it is one of the intentions I had since I was a child. It's very painful as a child when you're so open-hearted, so connected to life, and you see constantly that for no reason we're killing so many animals, making them extinct and destroying forests. And so somewhere in the background, personally, that will be one of the passions, one of the fires I have to spread this. While, funny enough, at the same time, I'm perfectly at peace. in another perspective, perfectly at peace with things as they are.
I guess that's the beautiful balance between striving towards something in the world and manifesting something into the reality of that we're living here in our, let's say, normal everyday life, right? But at the same time, keeping that peace within. And that was a beautiful ending for me. Is there something you would like to add, or any last comments, anything that we might have missed, or?
Yeah, maybe I would say that one of the most beautiful things that I see revealed when people discover themselves in this way, or even myself, I'm in the process. I'm still discovering more about what we are talking about, and it's becoming more and more embodied. Like, many of my expressions still, as a human, are still there from the period where I didn't discover this. A lot of my reactions, a lot of my thoughts are still colored by a very separated state of being. So I'm kind of constantly discovering and washing that away, and it's a very beautiful process. one of the most beautiful expressions in my humanness, the way it has been affecting me as a person, is that I get that thankfulness and amazement and awe that I had as a child, like of just like wow when I see something or a new person or a mountain or something. And that curiosity about Earth, I kind of lost that for a long period. But when I found my truest part again, then like, oh my God, the pyramids, who has left them there? Or like, all these mysterious things that exist on Earth, all this stuff that many theories try to kill and explain, but they are actually not explained. All of these amazing things about this earthly existence, and even just the mystery of the one sitting in front of me at any moment, that every single entity and their unique mind and story is a mystery, just as much as the Earth. I get all this excitement back into really exploring and enjoying this life. While before, when I was neglecting my soul, my whole life was regarding myself, like it was just gravitating around me trying to feel complete. And I was not really seeing the world or seeing others, I realize now. But when this completeness starts to fill you up, then suddenly you're not interested in yourself. You're interested in the one in front of you or the world in front of you. So this would be one of the inspirations I would say. I would like to inspire people to find that place where you start to be amazed by Earth and everyone in front of you again, and every food and every place. That would be my final words, I think.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing with us and with me. Where can people, because you do workshops all around the world, you've been doing in Stockholm, now we are in Rishikesh, India, dogs barking in the background as always in Rishikesh. Where can people reach out to you on, what's the best way, social media? Maybe you can just give you through your handles.
Yeah, for now, it's mainly, since I have a little child now, I'm actively being a father most of my time. I spend most of my time in Sweden and in India. In between, during the summers, I have classes in a couple of festivals. But easiest way is social media, as you say. The project I'm doing is called Simran Meditation. By the way, Simran is a pretty funny word. It's one word in Sanskrit, but it means to be aware of the highest aspect of life in action. Like while you are in action in your daily life, you're also aware of your highest aspect, your soul, your essence. So this is one word in Sanskrit, Simran. Wow. So yeah, what I teach is called Simran Meditation. And I have a Facebook page with that name, facebook.com/Simran Meditation. And also working on Instagram where I'm not so good at that.
Yeah,
maybe I'm too old for that. And then on the side, I also do a lot of online session. I'm recording a YouTube channel with a basic course, like three-step course in this thing. And I also, together with an assistant, I put together a large document of recommended books and recommended clips and audiobooks and all kind of stuff for people who are interested. So if people want any guidance in this way, you can contact me via any of these channels, but main one being my Facebook page right now, facebook.com/Simran Meditation. So that's the place where I often answer. Most of my crowd is from there right now. But yeah, I also have simranmeditation.com. Also not good at updating that too often. But yeah, actually today I have 2 Skype sessions. I do Skype sessions all the time. This works very well, individually guided Skype session. So if anyone is interested in that, that functions very well. We have amazing connection. Sometimes both of us are really surprised how much we can connect and feel each other with a really so Indian connection over Skype, which is lagging in voice, but somehow we connect and we say the same things at the same time, and we kind of become one, even though it's over this kind of technology and bad Indian connection. So nice. That would be the stuff I can share right now about how to contact.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. And yeah, see you. Peace.